I'm Nigel Chivers, and I'm very concerned about the environment. I've been tracking some of the recent developments in sea level rise and the news that comes out about what's making it go up, and you can look at my other videos to learn some of that information. But today's talk, I thought I'd talk about something that just recently happened this last week, and it's very relevant because it puts people into a different mindset about what's happening with the sea level rises. Because as I've been talking, there's a CO2 increase in the world's atmosphere, there's a greenhouse effect, the increase in temperature, which in turn increases the melting of the polar caps, Greenland, and we're getting sea level rises. But I was talking to a coworker this last week, and they informed me that they were very safe because they were at least 5 feet above sea level. And nothing's going to happen to them because they're safe. Nothing's going to happen for many years, maybe 100, 200 years. So why was I worried? And if I was living 5 feet above sea level, I shouldn't worry either. So I realized a lot of people don't know the definition of sea level. I talked to quite a few people, and I think that this is really worth talking about. So sea level is simply an average of the high tide and the low tide. So to examine this a little bit further, so his perception is we have the ocean here, we have his little house here, and 5 feet he's safe. In fact, couldn't be further from the truth. We look at, happened to be near Vancouver. High tide this month, 16 feet. Low tide, just under 1 foot. So we've got a difference of about 15 feet. The average, somewhere in the neighborhood of sea level being the average is 7.5 feet. So 7.5 feet. So if sea level was 0, you have an increase when the high tide goes up of 7.5 feet, and you have a decrease of 7.5 feet when the sea level goes down, low tide and high tide. In fact, when there's a king tide, which is like the super tides that they have a few times a year, they have both the moon and the sun exerting an influence on the ocean, and you get much higher tides. You can have huge tides. Things which would normally be 16 feet can go to 20 something feet. So just for a lot of people that don't know, if you're 5 feet above sea level, you're already in trouble, because 5 feet above sea level means that some of the time you're 2.5 feet below sea level. And this is not even counting weather effects. It's not even counting the changes of the local conditions, such as sandbank movement, dredging, if they take away stuff in the harbour mouth, if there's snowpack, which is melting all of a sudden and you get more water coming down. There can actually be a lot of different things which exaggerate the high tide, and you can get an extra few feet because of that. Some of the effects that I see locally in Vancouver, we run on a seawall, and most of the time it's way below sea level. There's a beach, there's a rocky area, and a couple of times a year that sea level is so high it actually covers the seawall. A lot of people don't know that. So anyway, I hope that explained things a little bit better for you, because you may have already known this, but I'm sure a lot of people don't, that if you're above sea level and you think you're safe, you may not be safe, because some of the time the sea level rises and falls, and that high tide will be putting you underwater. Of course, the area where he is right now is totally safe. It's got infrastructure, it's got dikes, it's got pumps, it's got all the infrastructure to stop the ocean from flooding that area. But some areas aren't so lucky. And eventually, if sea levels keep rising, we can all be in a bit of trouble, and we won't be able to depend upon infrastructure to keep us above water. I'm Nigel, and I thank you for listening. Thank you.